My name is Sama, and I'm the only daughter of the late Chief Madu. I'm 28 years old, and my life has been a roller coaster of ups and downs. My parents' death in a plane crash 2 years ago left me with a vast inheritance, but also a deep sense of loss and loneliness. I've struggled to find men who truly care for me, not just my wealth, but that's a story for another time. Right now, I'm sitting in my driveway, tears streaming down my face as my boyfriend, Williams, breaks up with me. It's 9 o'clock p.m., and my world is crumbling around me. Again, I can't believe Williams, my so called boyfriend, is doing this to me. We just got back from dinner, and he's breaking up with me in my driveway, all because I couldn't make a transfer to help him out. I thought we had something real, but I guess I was wrong. Again, as I sit here in tears, Max, my loyal gate man, rushes out to open the gate. Williams gets out of the car, and I can see the anger in his eyes. He's been distant for weeks, and I knew something was off, but I never thought it would end like this. Please, Williams, don't do this. I beg, my voice shaking, but he just looks at me with disgust. You couldn't even help me out when I needed it most. He spits out. What's the point of being with someone who can't support me? I try to explain, but he's not having it. He drags me out of the car, and I land on the ground, my knees scraping against the pavement. Max rushes over, looking concerned, but Williams wants him to stay back. Mind your business, gate man, he sneers. This doesn't concern you. Max hesitates, but I can see the pity in his eyes. He knows I'm hurting, but he doesn't want to get involved. I don't blame him. Who wants to get caught up in my drama? Williams gets back in his car and Max opens the gate for him. As he drives away, I feel a piece of my heart rip apart. Again, I thought I'd learned my lesson after my parents' death, but I guess I'm still a glutton for punishment. Max rushes back to me, helping me up from the ground. Summer, stop crying, he says softly. You deserve so much better than him. I nod, trying to compose myself, but the tears won't stop. I feel like I'm drowning in my own sorrow, my own fears. Will I ever find someone who loves me for who I am, not just my wealth? I can't believe he said that. I sobbed to Max, my voice shaking with anger and sadness. He has no idea what I'm worth, beyond my bank account. Max nods sympathetically, his eyes filled with understanding. You deserve so much better, Summer, he says softly. You're a beautiful, kind, and intelligent woman. Don't let him make you feel otherwise. I nod, trying to compose myself, but the tears won't stop. I feel like I've been punched in the gut, like all the air has been sucked out of me. Max helps me inside, and I collapse onto the couch, feeling like I'm going to collapse. He hands me a glass of water, and I take a sip, trying to calm down. But my mind is racing. How could Williams say such a thing? How could he be so cruel? The night wore on, and my tears refused to dry. I lay in bed, my body shaking with sobs, my mind reeling with the harsh reality. 8 relationships, 8 failures, all because of my wealth. I felt like I was living in a never ending nightmare. Morning arrived, but I didn't. I refused to get out of bed, refused to face the world. Max knocked on my door, his gentle voice pleading with me to open up. But I couldn't. I wouldn't. As the hours ticked by, Max's knocks grew fainter, his voice more distant. I knew he was worried, but I couldn't bring myself to care. I was too consumed by my own grief. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I flung open the door, my eyes blazing with fury. Go away, Max! I shouted, my voice echoing through the hallway. But Max didn't flinch. He stood his ground, his eyes filled with concern. Summer, please, he said softly. You need to eat something. You can't keep starving yourself. But I was beyond reason. I was consumed by my own pain and anger. And I lashed out, my hand striking Max across the face. Go back to the gate where you belong, I spat, my voice venomous. Leave me alone, Max! Max's eyes widened in shock, his face stinging from the slap. But he didn't retaliate. He didn't defend himself. He just stood there, his eyes filled with a deep sadness. And for a moment, we just stared at each other, the tension between us palpable. Then, without a word, Max turned and walked away, his shoulders slumped in defeat. I watched him go, my heart still racing with anger. But as the silence grew, I felt a pang of regret. Had I been too harsh? Had I hurt Max too deeply? But I pushed the thought aside, refusing to acknowledge it. I was too consumed by my own pain, my own anger, and I slammed the door shut, locking myself back in my darkened room. But I didn't care. I was too far gone, too consumed by my own despair. To be continued. Drop a heart if you want us to continue the story. Follow Mayor Stories.